What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and welcome to another episode of our First Down Training show. Today, we're going to be talking about how youth athletes are getting scammed by recruiting services. Then, we're going to be getting into some current events. We're going to talk about a viral clip of Travis Hunter like dancing at practice, and everybody's making a big deal about it because another player told him to stop. I think it's so stupid, so we're going to talk about that, and then answer some guys your questions from a previous episode. So, I hope this is able to help you out. Let's get to this video. All right, fellas, let's talk about recruiting services. So this is something that a lot of 7th, 8th grade, 9th grade, sometimes even below that, athletes get approached by. They get approached by these salesmen who want them to sign up for their exclusive website where they can make a profile, and that will help them get more exposure and get more recruiting. So I'm going to pretty much break down exactly what a recruiting service does, what they say they do, and how they don't really necessarily deliver on the promises that they say they do, and just some shared experience of maybe good recruiting services to use and bad ones to use just over my years of coaching and working with thousands of athletes across the country. This is just based off of my experience and what I see. So, number one, what is a recruiting service? So generally what it is it's like a website owned by, maybe a couple guys. They have maybe people working for them, and their goal is to connect athletes with college coaches, right? So they claim that they have all of these college coaches on their email list. All of these college coaches use their website. So as a player, if you pay, a monthly fee, a yearly fee, a one-time fee, you're going to be put onto that platform and college coaches can look at you. So here's my beef with these big recruiting services. Recruiting, if you've ever met a college coach, you know this. Recruiting is very much so a word of mouth game. And it's very much so a relationship game. College recruiters have different high school coaches all over the country, maybe recruiting scouts that they go to for advice on players. Like they'll be like, hey coach, do you have any guys this year? Who should we be looking at? And they'll recommend a couple guys. And that high school head coach, he's not getting paid to recommend those guys. He's recommending guys that he knows would be a good fit for that program, so that coach keeps coming back every single year, so that can build up the high school program, right? Same thing with the regional scout. If that regional scout doesn't have any recruiting buzz or recruiting attention or people following him because he's recommending bad players, nobody's going to follow him anymore. So they don't have as much skin in the game, or I guess you could say a financial incentive, as some of these bigger recruiting websites do. That's where my problem is, right? These big recruiting websites, they claim to have all these connections, right? But they're trying to sign up kids that are in 7th grade, 8th grade, freshman year, that don't even have varsity film. And they're making them these promises like, hey, we're going to help you get recruited. Hey, we're going to help you do this. Hey, we're going to help you do that. College coaches will see you. College coaches will see your profile. You're going to get put on. You'll get more promoted. But a lot of times these athletes spend a ton of money and nothing actually happens because these companies don't do enough for the individual to get them recruited. And I'm not saying that it's a bad business model, because it's actually a great business model, right? But the thing is that they're trying to scale something that is extremely, I guess you could say, challenging or almost impossible to scale unless you have a ton of people working for you, right? And a lot of sometimes these companies don't have a ton of people working for them. What they do is the athlete posts their profile, they make their profile, they're paying all this money, and then all of a sudden they start getting random camp invites to schools that they've never even heard of, right? And I'm sure we've all been there, especially if you've signed up for one of the recruiting services, maybe the more popular ones that a lot of people know about. And you start getting these weird emails like, you've been invited to this camp, you've been invited to that camp, and you're like, oh wow, this website must be working, they must be doing my job. Wrong, you guys. What a lot of these websites do is that they will take your information, aka your email address, maybe even your phone number, maybe your Twitter profile, and then they get sent a mass email. So these colleges pay for that information. So it's an exchange of information. So the colleges send you these email invites to fill up their camps so they can make money, because especially for the smaller division schools, camps is a big source of their team revenue, and it's a big source of revenue just for generally the school too as well. So a lot of times people are bamboozled by this. Now my thing, let's talk about credibility, because we talked about credibility, right? If I'm a recruiting service and I'm putting on all these athletes and I am willing to, literally the crazy part about the big ones is that anybody could sign up for it. You could be awful. You could be a horrendous football player and they're not going to turn you down. So they're willing to put their name by your name, even if you're a bad football player. And I'm not saying anybody watching this is just a horrible football player, you're never going to make it, but we all know those players that just aren't going to play college football one day, but they will still take them and still allow them to sign up and say, hey, yeah, we can help you get exposure. No, you're not. They will never look at a kid and say, Okay, listen, hey, we're not necessarily going to have you sign up for our service because we don't feel that you're good enough yet. We think you need to improve in these areas. If you come back to us and you've improved in these areas, we will gladly put you on our website. There's no exclusivity to it. So college coaches aren't going to trust these big services, you guys. Why would they listen to them? They're not going to rifle through 100 players to find 2 decent ones and then 88 bad ones or 98 bad ones. They're not going to do that. They don't have that kind of time. They have guys that they specifically trust. They have high school coaches that they trust. They do their own scouting. They do their own reporting on different kids that get offers around the state that they're actually based in, and they trust that. They don't trust these big services or these recruiting services, okay, you guys? So now some of you might be thinking, well, Coach, what do I do then? If I'm not signing up for a recruiting service, if I'm not paying for people to help me out, what do I do to actually get myself recruited? And that's what we're going to talk about. So I would say the most important thing for you to do as an athlete, let's say you're a freshman in high school. So it's just simple. You're a freshman in high school, maybe even an 8th grader. What you need to do is you need to make an X profile, okay? X, formerly known as Twitter, and that is where college coaches do the primary of their recruiting. They're very, very active on Twitter. They're engaging with athletes, following athletes, talking to athletes. That's what they do, okay? Now, let's say this, you make an X profile, you make it professional. You have a football picture as your profile picture, you have your graduating class, you have your position, the school that you attend, and what you need to be doing is following as many college coaches as you can. I recommend making a target list to start out. D1, D2, D3, NAIA, and take 10 schools from each division, find coaches on their staff, shoot them a follow. Then you should be uploading consistent content onto social media. I'm talking just like, it could be one play from a workout, one weight room rep, just so you have some type of content and some type of social media presence. So if a coach sees that and it's impressive, okay, I'll follow this kid, right? Even if you don't have varsity film. Now, if you don't have varsity film, you're kind of screwed. You need varsity film because you need varsity film to get recruited. You see a lot of times kids getting these offers who don't have varsity film. Don't buy into that garbage, you guys. It's not a real offer. It's a verbal offer. It's essentially a potential offer. It's like, hey, you might be really good, so we're going to give you this verbal offer. So when you sign, if you end up being really good, don't forget who recruited you first type thing. And if the player doesn't pan out, then the school isn't on the hook because it's verbal. It's not a legitimate offer. And a lot of times they're fake. We're going to talk about the whole fake offer scam with recruiting services and recruiting agents here in a second. But that's what I would do. And now when you follow all those coaches, you have a social media presence, I'd start DMing them. Now your goal is not to get an offer off of the first DM. A goal is not to send them your freshman highlights or your 8th grade highlights. It's just to open up a line of communication. Because again, recruiting is about relationships. They'd rather hear from you as an individual than some recruiting website that they just keep getting a million different emails from. They want to hear from you as an athlete, and they want to see your film as an athlete. So I'd reach out to them and I'd ask them simple questions. I'd be like, hey, listen, coach, I'm, class of 2028 quarterback here. I was just wondering if you have any camps coming up. They might send you a camp. You might go to that camp. You might meet the coach. You might follow up with them after, but you're building relationships. You're networking. So when you are a sophomore, and let's say you get varsity film, guess who you could send your varsity film to? A coach that already knows you, is already familiar with you, has been following you, and that's how the process goes. It's tedious, but I recommend doing that because I think you'll get better results and faster results than paying a bunch of money for some recruiting service that's just going to add you to a list of 1,000+ players. There's nothing personal about joining one of those recruiting sites. Okay? Now, I did mention earlier that there are some recruiting agencies that are good. There are some recruiting services that can be good. And I say can be good. I'm not saying all of them are good. I say can be good, okay? So how they can be good is if they don't take anybody and everybody. I had a high school quarterback that I trained maybe about 3 years ago, and he got an offer to a big Division II school. I want to say it was Colorado Pueblo. I want to say, I'm 99% sure that's what it was. And he got that offer because of the help of his recruiting service guy. So his recruiting agent, if you will. Now that guy only takes a specific amount of players because he has a lot of college coaches who come to him for players. He does not want to sign up Joe Blow, JV player who doesn't have any varsity film, who isn't good enough, because that's not going to make him look good. And if he refers that player to somebody and the coach doesn't like that coach loses credibility for that coach who's referring people, or the agent that's referring people. The agent loses credibility if he refers a bad player. So he only wants to refer good players. So he's like, hey, send me your film. I'll check out your film and we'll let you know. My guy sent him his film. He liked it. He told him to sign up, and they were doing weekly calls, he was engaging with them. See how it's a very personal business? They're like, hey, okay, what are you doing this week? How many coaches did you reach out this week? And then he would put in, if he was putting in that effort and he saw improvement, he was telling him what to post on social media, and then he was putting him on to different college coaches. He was having college coaches look at him at different camps. That's maybe when it can be good. But a lot of guys don't have the time or the effort or the connections to be able to do that. So you need to be careful of that. Now, I also talked about fake offers. Now, this is where the recruiting world gets dark, in my opinion. And this is where I feel a lot of people scam certain people. And this is where I feel like a lot of people's vanity gets in the way as well. So we had a podcast recently where we interviewed a former Miami quarterback, Malik Rosier, I want to say is how you say his last name. And he was also a coach at the University of Georgia. And so he was telling us about this rule that Georgia had where it was called the sixth state rule, which means all of the states that are bordering Georgia, anytime a kid in one of those states got an offer, what you do is you need to, as a graduate assistant, as an assistant coach, you make a report and you report back and be like, hey, this kid just got an offer from here. Maybe we should take a look at him. Maybe we should take a look at him, right? So a lot of times these recruiting agents take advantage of that. What they promote to parents, what they tell the parents is, hey, listen, what you're going to do is you're going to pay me X amount of money. And this is a real thing, you guys. I live in Southern California, and there are probably 10 plus guys, 2 quarterback trainers that I know of that do this type of strategy, and one recruiting guy who I think is a total scumbag who does this type of thing as well. But what they do is they say, hey, pay me the number that I got heard. I can't confirm if this number is real or not, but this is how it was explained to me by a parent who was approached by this guy. Pay me $5,000. I'm going to take $2,000 and go give it to an assistant college coach at a school. That assistant is going to give your son a verbal offer. We're going to post the verbal offer in hopes that other coaches see that and then look at you. Now, as parents, you're like, oh, that makes sense. That's a good idea if you don't know any better. But hopefully if you're watching this, now you're starting to know better. But the thing is they're going to eventually watch your film. So if you're not good enough, there's no benefit in doing that. If you're not a good enough football player to play at a big school and coaches see that and they see that you got an offer from this school, they're going to be like, oh, that's fake. And it's an easy way to lose credibility, and it's an easy way to burn a bridge with the coach because the coach is going to know that you guys are doing some shady business behind the scenes to get these offers that are actually fake. And you see all these kids all the time that have these offers that when it comes down to signing day, they go to a JUCO. They don't sign anywhere. They don't sign to a school that originally had offered them because it's not real, you guys. So you just have to be careful. Use common sense. We have tons of resources on this channel all about the recruiting process, all about the right way to do it. So if you go through our channel, you will find tons of videos that can help you out with this process, even more in detailed that we went in this video. So I hope that was able to make sense, you guys, and I hope you got some value out of that. Now, fellas, before we get into some current events today, if you are an athlete and you need to gain weight, go to that very first link in the description below for our AG Labs Whey Protein Powder. It's a 28 serving protein powder. We have great flavors, cookies and cream, chocolate peanut butter brownie, cinnamon snickerdoodle, the works, you guys. So go to that very first link in the description below if you want a great protein powder to help you gain weight. I actually own that company with my brother, and we made a line of supplements specifically for athletes to help with weight gain. So again, guys, very first link in that description below. If you use the promo code FIRST25, FIRST25 at checkout, you get 25% off your protein order. Now, let's get into some current events, you guys. So, current event number 1. Superstar Titans rookie quarterback Cam Ward shows up at the facility at 5 a.m. every day, and head coach Brian Callahan says he has to force him to go home on some nights. Ward said 5 a.m. routine has always been a part of his process. I freaking love that. For you guys that are young players watching this video and you're trying to play on varsity, you want to start on varsity, you're an underclassman, your work ethic is going to earn the respect of your coaches and going to earn the respect of your other teammates. And that's something that is super important being an underclassman. So I am telling you this right now, you guys, as an underclassman, make sure your work ethic is like Cam Ward's. Make sure that you're that dude that's the first one there for practice. You're never missing practice. You're the last one to leave. And a lot of people say that. A lot of people have that attitude, but a lot of people are are willing to do that. And you need to be putting in extra work outside of practice. You need to be putting in extra work outside of your team weight room workouts. And that is how you're going to earn the respect of your coaching staff and get an opportunity. A lot of people complain that they don't have opportunities. A lot of people complain that there's daddy ball, coaching politics. I'm not getting a chance. But really, are you putting in the extra steps to create that chance for yourself? So I love that from Cam Ward. Huge fan of his, obviously. So that's a pretty cool story for you guys to see. Now, let's get into the story about Travis Hunter. So yikes, Travis Hunter has gone viral after a video of his teammate appearing to tell him to stop dancing and focus on practice surfaced online. Hunter continued to show off his moves. I hate this stuff, guys. Like, I hate it so much because it's like they're trying to make people, they're trying to paint this narrative around Travis Hunter that he's not a football guy, that he's just like all hype, not focused, he's dancing around like he doesn't care. That's not at all who Travis Hunter is, more than likely. And it's just like they show these stupid videos to try to paint a narrative, and you guys just honestly just ignore the noise. That's something that I could always tell you. If you're at practice and you're enjoying yourself and you're focused and you're locked in and you're having a good, so what? Coach tells you to stop dancing. But like, still, at the end of the day, like, just be yourself. Like, that says nothing about Travis Hunter as a football player. That says nothing about Travis Hunter's character. And it's just, I hate when the media tries to spin these narratives for clicks because they don't think about the impacts that maybe it has on the athlete, maybe it has on the athlete's family, or maybe it has on the fans of that athlete. They're just doing it to create turmoil and get clicks, and that's something that I freaking hate, man. So guys, don't pay attention to that story. I think that story is absolutely ridiculous, okay? So now, fellas, let's get into some of your guys' questions from a previous episode. So fellas, if you guys got questions, stuff you want to ask me, don't hesitate. Post them in the comment section below. Be happy to answer all your guys' questions. I read and respond to every single question, and if they're good questions, I feel like the whole audience can get value, I will feature them on our show. So again, guys, I appreciate you tuning in. Let's get into the first one here. So, first question from FWF2524. I'm 11. I really want to go D1 in college and go to the NFL, and I want to know how much work I should be putting in, like running, lifting weights, etc. So, I mean, if you want to be a Division I level football player or any college level football player, your weekly workouts are very, very important, but I would say it's more so about what you're getting accomplished in those workouts than the amount of time you're spending on the field and the number of workouts that you're getting. Obviously, you can't just work out once or twice a week. That's not what I'm trying to say. But like, if you're one of those dudes like, I'm working out 7 days a week, I'm working out 2 hours a day, like, and it's like, okay, but what are you doing in those 7 days? What are you doing in those 2 hours? Like, if you're a dude that's consistent, I would say training on the field for like position skill work, probably like 4 times a week, 4 to 5, doing speed and agility training 2 to 3 times a week, and then lifting maybe 4 to 5 times a week is a plenty good enough schedule for you guys to be able to be successful and not overtrain yourself. But you have to take care of your recovery, you got to take care of your sleep, you got to take care of your diet in order for you to be able to perform like that. So that's what I would say. If you want a decent workout schedule that you could follow, I think that's more than enough. But in those workouts, you have to make sure that you're productive. You're not just listening to music and BSing with your friends, okay? So I hope that makes sense, man. I appreciate you asking, dude. Thank you for the support of the channel. Next question from Booker Not Bricker. In my opinion, lots of hard work could beat people who are more naturally gifted. Yeah, so I mean, I think one of the biggest questions, or a tale as that's old as time in the football world, is like, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And I think that's true for sure. I just think a lot of people mistake that. I think a lot of people who are maybe like undersized, not as athletically gifted, think, okay, well, if I just outwork the really talented and gifted player, that means I should get more opportunities than him, and that means I should be better than him. And you know, maybe you deserve more opportunities than him because you outwork him. But at the same time, you don't understand how much work you have to actually put in to be able to beat that level of natural talented ability. Like, let's say you got 2 receivers, right? Let's say one receiver, 6'3", 200 pounds, runs a 4.4 40, but he doesn't train at all, right? Let's say we got another guy. He's 5'11", 185 pounds, runs a 4.7 40-yard dash. Like, to be able to compete with that dude, you have to work so insanely hard. It's not just about outworking that guy. It's about doing everything you possibly can and every single aspect of your game to even get a slight edge on that naturally gifted player. Now, at the collegiate level, the playing field's a little more level. At the NFL level, the playing field is a lot more level. But at the high school level, guys, you can still get those naturally gifted players that might get away with it. So if you're not that naturally gifted guy, you need to outwork that dude that you're competing with, but by 10 times to even feel like you can get a chance, because athleticism does ultimately play a role. So hope that makes sense, fellas. I appreciate you asking that. Next question from Trav75. Are you able to get noticed at all if you're a freshman on freshman team or JV if your school doesn't let freshmen play varsity? You know, it's going to be tough, man. Everybody, when I say this, always throws the thing in my face. Like, if you're a freshman, you only have freshman film, JV, only JV film. Everybody says that, oh, well, Saquon Barkley got an offer from JV film. Not everybody's Saquon Barkley, okay? So like it's just, and more 99.9% of the time you need varsity film. That's what's gonna get you recruited. That's what's gonna get you real recruiting attention. So that should be your primary focus. If you're on freshman or JV ball, your focus should not be like, hey, how can I get offers? You know, maybe you could do stuff for your recruiting. You have social media, you go to camps, you're trying to interact with coaches, build relationships, but all of your resources, all of your time, all of your energy, and all of your effort needs to be, how can I make varsity as soon as possible? Because you need varsity film to get any real recruiting attention. So hope that makes sense, man. I appreciate you asking that. Now, fellas, that concludes this episode, but I appreciate y'all tuning in. Hope this was able to give you some value. Hope you guys learned something from this episode. And again, if you guys have questions, feel free, guys, post them in the comment section below. We love interacting with you. We love the support that we get from you guys, and we'll see you next time.